Now we're going to continue our discussion on social cognitive theory. Now, whom do we emulate? Do we model the actions of just anyone? Now, anyone can be a model. We have no control over the aspects of our behavior that persons may imitate. However, there are certain characteristics which some individuals possess which increase the probability that their behavior will be imitated. Let's have a look at these characteristics. First, we look at perceived similarity. Now, people are more likely to imitate behaviors in others whom they perceive as similar to themselves than they are to imitate behaviors in those they perceive as different from them. So, for example, a girl is more likely to choose engineering as a career if she observes the work of a female engineer than if she observes the work of a male engineer. Likewise, here we see a female aircraft technician. Now, a girl may decide to pursue such a career because she's actually seeing another female engaged in that career. Another factor is perceived competence. People are more likely to imitate behaviors in others they perceive as competent than those they perceive as less competent. So, an aspiring golfer is more likely to imitate the technique of an accomplished golfer like Tiger Woods than the technique of a novice golfer. He has proven himself, he has won a number of championships. Perceived status. People are more likely to imitate behavior displayed by high status models than they are to imitate the behavior of low status models. So here we see Machel Montano, a very successful soca artist. Young aspiring soca artists may want to sing like Machel Montano. After all, he's won the Power Soca Monarch competition this year and he's been winning titles as he's gone along. So they may choose to sing like him, may choose to dress like him, and so on. Here we see LeBron James, a very popular basketballer. Now, if we look at him, we can see that there's a lot of body art or tattoos. And many teenagers may get tattoos in order to emulate him because they think that, he's doing well in basketball, he has these tattoos, and they may also want that level of success. It is important to note that very high status models tend to have competence attributed to them outside their fields of expertise. Let's examine this. So here we see, say, LeBron James, and teenagers are more likely to wear shoes endorsed by him than shoes endorsed by the local shoe salesperson. So let's just say you go to Payless or one of the other little shoe stores and the sales clerk is telling you that this is a really good pair of shoes, but then maybe you have never seen any basketballer, pro basketballer wearing those shoes. So you may say, no, that's not the shoes that you want. Likewise, we see Gabby Douglas, who won a gold medal at the last Olympic Games. Now, here we are seeing her endorsing cornflakes. Now, the nutritionist, the parent may have told little children that cereal is good for you, it'll make you strong and healthy. But Gabby was very successful. And here she is endorsing cornflakes. So, budding gymnasts may think that if they eat this brand of cereal, they too will be successful. So, LeBron is not a specialist on footwear, neither is Gabby a nutritionist, but when they endorse a product, their success makes us think that we can also be successful. Now, what are the effects of modeling on behavior? Firstly, we can learn new behaviors. So for example, a student attempts to imitate a solution to a problem that the teacher demonstrates for the first time. So here we see the young man at the blackboard writing what the teacher has shown him how to do. Or we see a novice tennis player attempting to imitate the service motion of an instructor. So here we see him first using a more, amateur tennis serve. But then we see the type of serve that we would see a professional tennis player displaying during a game. So just think of this person as Rafael Nadal or Serena Williams or whatever, because that's the way that they serve, overhead, not underhand. Another effect of modeling is that it can facilitate existing behavior, meaning we all know how to do certain things. It's just that when someone else does it, then it brings that behavior that we can also do to the fore. Let's take a look at some examples. So here we see someone standing as part of a standing ovation after seeing another person in the audience stand. Now, yes, that person knows how to stand and to applaud, but then at times we wonder if it's the right time or whether other persons might be looking at us and think it's inappropriate and so on. So it facilitates that behavior. We all know how to stand and applaud. Or a student studying more thoroughly after observing the study habits of a friend. So students know how to study, you all know how to study, but if a friend explains to you how he or she studies, then you may also look at them, maybe get wind of the grade that they got in the first psychology course and say, well, if she's doing that, then I should do that also. So note she's using, I don't know if it's an iPad or a netbook or what she's using, but she's revising the chapter notes or the PowerPoint slides or so on. Another effect of modeling is it can change our inhibitions. Now, inhibitions are things that we are very cautious about because in a way we know we're not supposed to do it. So here we hear that a driver's inhibition about exceeding the speed limit is strengthened when he sees another speeding car stopped by the traffic police. So he knows he's not supposed to speed, so what does he do? He reduces his speed, because his inhibition is strengthened. It's the wrong thing to do. Speeding is wrong. Or a student's inhibition about speaking without permission is weakened when she sees other students speak without permission and are not punished. So here we see a class is going on and the lecturer is probably explaining something to someone. So students speak. And here we see an outright bedlam in a classroom where persons are doing what they want, they're lying on the ground, they're sleeping or whatever, because the teacher is probably being a nice guy and he's allowing them a bit of freedom. And of course, they've gone a bit overboard with it. So their inhibition about speaking without permission is weakened because sir's not going to do anything. Sir's a nice guy. Another effect of modeling on behavior is it can arouse emotions. So a person at a social gathering may feel a bit embarrassed when he sees a couple across the room shout at each other in anger. Sometimes it's the words that come out. Sometimes you feel badly for the person who's on the receiving end of the tongue lashing. So it arouses an emotion in you. Or a person watching a movie begins to cry whenever there's a sad scene. She's a bit like me because whenever it's a really sad movie, yes, I do cry. And of course, her companion is eating popcorn. He doesn't see anything to cry about. So, emotions are aroused. Now, Let's look at some principles of instruction for applying social cognitive theory in classrooms, because after all, you are prospective educators and you need to know how you can use this theory in the classroom. Firstly, you need to behave in ways you want students to imitate. Remember, you are not in control of what behavior that the students or anyone else may wish to imitate or model from you. So, you need to behave in, what should I say, a professional manner at all times. You need to enforce classroom rules and procedures fairly and consistently. That consistency is very important, because if a student does, let's say the student does the homework and you don't grade it, or you don't say anything about it, then the student is not being reinforced. And remember, non-occurrence of a reinforcer in fact acts as a punisher. So the student may actually feel as though he or she is being punished for actually doing the right thing, doing their homework. You can capitalize on modeling effects to promote learning. So we've just discussed the effects of modeling. So capitalize on them, use them in the classroom. For example, you can encourage the shy students to talk more in class and so on. Put students in modeling roles. That is, if a student is doing something or performing in a manner that you really admire, then you can bring it to the attention of the other students. And capitalize on guests as role models whenever possible. So whenever possible, you can invite someone into the classroom, because we know that role models are definitely needed in society. So for your assignment, in your own words, write a paragraph or two on the value and applicability of social cognitive theory in the school system in Trinidad and Tobago. So you can choose any aspect of social cognitive theory. We've spoken a lot about it in terms of what persons may choose to model after it and so on. And we see a lot of that happening via video on which are being uploaded onto Facebook, on social media and so on. So think about it, write a paragraph or two, and we'll discuss your views in the next class.